At this very intuitive level, we understand that when you're unique and you stand out and you psychologically connect, that there's likely value behind your product. The word eccentricity has a Greek origin, and it comes from this term out of the center, the notion of being out of the center. It means being different in a particular way. So sort of strange, unexpected, unusual. Those sort of characteristics would define eccentricity. So there are some characters that we attract to, that we're sort of drawn to, and they're curiosities, and we pay attention to them. And the ability of people to draw attention to themselves, to be eccentric, is related to authenticity, because when you're authentic, then you get more aligned with your own true self, and that can allow you to distinguish yourself from others. So culturally, as the notion of authenticity increases, we expect to see an increase in eccentricity. So some examples of eccentric characters would be Nikola Tesla, going all the way back to hundreds of years ago. Current eccentric characters would include Elon Musk. One of the features about him that's eccentric, besides all his strange ideas that are outside the box, is that he has a flamethrower company. So that catches our ears and makes us think, why does this person have a flamethrower company, for example? Lady Gaga is another modern eccentric character. The first thing that pops up to mind is how she wore a dress made out of meat, and the way she dresses is very eccentric. And, Frida Kahlo also pops up in my mind. She has a distinct appearance, and she had a unique personality and a unique way of living her life. And basically, when you reveal something interesting about yourself, when you're eccentric, you demonstrate to others more about yourself than if you just reveal something that's similar across a large group of people. So it helps other people get to know who you are better. And this is something that we think a lot about in marketing, right? Because we often think about how can you position yourself to distinguish yourself from the competitors? How can you stand out from the others? And in addition to distinguishing yourself and standing out from others, it's also about psychologically connecting. So when you are different and when you do stand out from others, then you psychologically connect with the audience more. And scientific studies actually show that they feel like they know more about you. Now, there's an article that goes into this in even more detail called Meat Dresses and Surplus Ears. Does being eccentric make you a better artist? This article out in Scientific American by Michaela Mitrovic, they talk about a scientific study published in the European Journal of Social Psychology called From Van Gogh to Lady Gaga, Artist Eccentricity Increases Perceived Artist Skill and Art Appreciation. And what the study found is that people reported that they valued the artwork more if they knew that the artist was eccentric. So in addition to the previous study, which talks about the feeling that people understand you better when you're different and when you stand out, this finding suggests that they also value your work more, your output more. And again, it's interesting to think about this in the context of marketing and branding. If you're a company that distinguishes yourself by being unique, the implication here would be that people might value your product more. People would value your product more if you have a solid distinction and if you stand out as a company. Now that's really interesting, and it's actually consistent with other discussions around the marketing culture. So traditionally, we would think about that in terms of accountability. So think about, why would they value your product more if the person who produced it stands out and is more distinct? One interesting reason why is that if they stand out and they're distinct, then they understand that the artist might be known by a larger number of people. They recognize that they're more engaging, and that means that they'll infer that their art is more engaging. But in the context of a company and a product, if they see that the company is unique and distinct, potentially that also means that more people would be aware of the company. And in some sense, the knowledge that a larger number of people are aware of the company can psychologically increase the value of the product as well. And so intuitively, you get the sense that a larger number of people might be aware of this product which means that they've presumably tested out the product, they've tried it, and if they had any issues, those issues would likely be communicated. That's one of the implications there. Another reason relates to the fact that if you stand out and you're distinct as a company, for example, if you have strong branding as opposed to generic branding, then that means that you have more to lose if you mess up. So somehow at this very intuitive level, we understand that when you're unique and you stand out and you psychologically connect, that there's likely value behind your product. And that's what this study is showing. So what can brands take away from this knowledge? What can marketers take away from this? Well, first, I want to acknowledge the psychological importance of standing out and being distinct, that makes your audience feel like they know you better, and it makes them perceive that your product is more valuable. Now, in this video, I talked about a particular form of standing out, which is an outcome of being truly authentic, and that is eccentricity. I gave you some examples of some people who demonstrated those qualities. So this is something for brands to think about. If you have characters that represent your brand, you might consider creating characters who are eccentric, and that will engage the audience more and make them think that they understand your brand more. Particularly as we do have a strong drive for authentic characters and authentic communication. And one aspect of the study actually confirmed that if you are eccentric, it needs to be perceived as authentic. If you are eccentric and it is perceived as being a display and not true to who you are, then the positive impact of standing out in a positive, valuable way no longer holds. So think about developing unique brand characters. Think about the importance of distinguishing yourself as a brand and the information that conveys and how it helps you psychologically connect with the audience. And on a parting note, I would like to leave you with my favorite eccentric character, which is Captain Obvious from Hotels.com. He personifies eccentricity. He has a curious look about him, curious mannerisms and behavior. Here in this video, he's tossing up popcorn and failing to catch it in his mouth, and it doesn't quite make sense. It's intriguing. So thanks for checking out this video. We're posting regularly on how we apply psychology and behavioral sciences to our marketing, and how it informs our creative work to improve psychological connections with the audience. So hit that subscribe and the bell button to stay tuned about our posts here. Hit the like if you like this, and let us know in the comments what you think about these ideas. Thanks for checking this out.